Hey guys, welcome to Street Freaks. Today we're going to be covering the tearing apart restoration of the brake booster for the 1958 Plymouth or 1957 Plymouth, whatever you want to call it. Same booster for both cars, but we're going to go ahead and tear this ugly thing apart. We'll drop a picture in here. We're going to tear this ugly thing apart and completely make it look like new. Now, we've never done this before. We've never torn one of these before. We have no idea what to expect, but we're going to go ahead and expect it here today with you and bring you guys along for the ride. So hopefully this video will help you guys out to be able to rebuild your own brake booster and not have to pay the big expensive fees of having that done. So follow along, join us for the trip. Here we go. All right, so we pulled a bunch of bolts out here. We got, okay, so recap here. This bracket here was on the back, like so. Just like that. We pulled lock washers and nuts off from that. All four of those to get the bracket off. Once that came off and was removed, we had four more of these nuts here, right here directly on here. And the other four bolts we pulled out of here were bolts and washers that just came out of the front of the unit. So that's all we disassembled so far, and then we took the hose off, of course. So I'm hoping like hell that I don't have to pull this Allen screw up back here because it just does not look good. Push this down for a minute. I'm just gonna see if I can get this collar off here. I don't think it's gonna come off. Maybe it will. Yeah, look at that. It does come off. Alright, there we go. I keep track of how that went on. Like that. That Allen screw's got to come out. It's just holding it together. Okay, so it's a set screw. So you can imagine the possibilities of that coming out. I'd say slim to none.
I'd say they're pretty good.
Pretty good?
Not.
Thanks for the vote of confidence.
No problem.
Alright, I gotta get an Allen wrench now. So over here there's a flat screw down here in the bottom. We're going to pull that out too and put that with our front bolts. Alright, so that's everything out of the front now. Out of the back, we got to get an Allen wrench that's going to fit this thing. And I'm going to say, let's try this one. Nope, let's try the next one. I don't know. I'll read it, but I ain't got my glasses on, so I can't read it. Ooh, there we go. That's the one. Holy crap, that came right out. That one broke right loose. It had to be the blaster. Now you watch, as soon as I do this, they both broke loose. Okay, so I'll be willing to bet I have to have something compressing this. While I take this off there. Right. So we want to do a video on this booster because there's absolutely nothing online for forward look cars. I swear, I don't know what the deal is with them things. I don't know if people just don't work on the cars themselves or if they don't want to let their secrets out, but there's, I don't know. But there's just nothing for forward look cars, and every time I go look something up on how to do something, there's nothing there. You're on your own. Go to the manual. You can ask some people, but you know, they'll give you their opinions on kind of how things are done and how they did it. And sometimes that's helpful. Other times you're kind of like, I don't get it. I don't have any idea how deep these things go. There we go. All right. So you gotta remember now this. See a certain way this got to go in, and this is the top. It's all right. So we're gonna pull this off. All right. So that's, oh, I'll bet you. Yep, there's a rubber seal on there. All right where that slide goes in right there, you can see that white slide right there attached to this rod. And right around that white slide, there's a seal in there. Right there. There's an O-ring right there on that. So we're going to clean this all up too. We'll take this apart when we get ready to actually put that back together. Alright. So, alright. So we're back here on the booster, and I think I found the way that this comes off here. I kind of started just doing a little bit of prying here on this front cover, and it seems to be coming right away. So stuck pretty good at the bottom. So I'm just gonna pry this off here. And they do sell a replacement boot for these. I'm not quite sure yet whether I'm going to replace the boot or not. I want to get this on film because this looks like it's going to be pretty difficult to do. There's a spring. Yeah. Yeah, that looks like fun. That looks like fun. All right, well there is like, I don't know if this is like spider webs or nest or what that is, or that's pretty grody. So I'm just gonna put this right over here because I want to film all this tearing apart so I know I can all went together too. Get this felt thingamajiggy. So let me clean the table off here. I'm gonna lay this out exactly the way that it comes out here. That's that. Pull the spring out of the center. And there's an O-ring here, which I'm assuming is one that's going to have to get replaced. And that, I'm just going to leave that. Yeah, there's definitely, that's where all your air comes from. Okay, so that's from the front. Let's see if it pops off the back at all. Of course, the boot's got to release back here too. There it is. Because it does, and the boot is replaceable, so. Put this back cover off here. This is learning experience, so I'm going to put this down this way now. Since we got this boot about released. Okay. And there's the back. So, this boot looks like it just slips off here. It looks like that's kind of what holds everything together. So, there's definitely some tension there. Okay. So they have a giant, massive spring on that thing. We're gonna leave that as is. I'm not gonna mess with any of that. There is a doodad and a copper piece right here. I'm gonna go ahead and clean that all up. I want to find out where all the seals are in this thing so I know what to watch for in the kit. And it looks like to me, really the only seals I'm seeing is this rubber one that we pulled off earlier, the collar, the big O-ring, and then the small O-ring, which was on this piece here, right in there. So I don't really know. Yeah, I'm not gonna mess with that. I think that's good. The boot now, I do have to get that to release off the front. And we'll just kind of pry that off here. I think I can redo this boot or recondition this boot, and I think I can make this boot really nice again. So maybe I'll just reorder the seal kit for this. It's gonna be super important that I don't forget how this thing goes back together. So, take that out there like that. And yeah, of course you can see that every piece in here is metal, so it looks like that if I can, boy, that is like brand new in there. That is really nice in there, yeah. And this whole thing's real pliable. It's not even like dry rotted or cracked or nothing. I think I got real lucky on this thing. It's a little dry, dusty right here, but I don't see any like stress cracks or pressure splits at all. I think I can clean this thing up. I don't think I'm going to change it. But it looks like if you were to change it, there's just a bunch of ribs in here. And these would probably all have to be slid out and then put into the new one, I would imagine. That's pretty slick. That's quite an invention. Yeah, the lip is good. It holds it all together really good yet. And once it's compressed, it'll be good to go. So I think it's gonna be fine. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark this boot. I think it went just like that, right there. That'll be good. So I'm gonna mark this boot which way is facing up, and I'm pretty sure these ridges here, if you look at these gold things inside here, the supports, I guess we'll call them inside here, there's a ridge on this side. You see there's a ridge on this side. And then if you flip it over, it curves back the other way down. So I think, I'm sure there's a reason why it's that way. So I'm almost positive it came with the ridges up like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and double check it on the film before I put it back together, but I'm just gonna lay this just like this. And I'm gonna mark it as so once I confirm that that's the way it came apart. Clean up and recondition the front. Recondition the back. There's another seal. Right in the back plate right there. Right there. And that's one that rides over top of that copper piece right over here. This copper centerpiece right here. And ball. This would have rolled right inside there like that. And that's, I think, where that goes. So anyway, cool. So that's all set. So we're at a standstill now. We're going to clean some parts up, recondition some things, and then we're going to go ahead and come back when everything's all ready to put back together, and we'll come back and do another video on that. And this will be finally a forward look video online about the brake booster. Hey guys, it's time to get back onto that brake booster. We do have a few more things that we have to do tear apart on that Plymouth brake booster, so we're going to go ahead and take care of that right now and get the rest of this tore apart, and let's see what we find. Let's dig in. All right, back onto the booster here. All I did so far was take this spring off the booster, and you see one of where the spring overhangs right here. You can see it. I'll put my finger behind that so you can see it a little bit better. Right here where that spring overhangs, when that spring turns on here, it actually hits into one of these platforms right here on the booster itself. So that's all we did so far was take that spring off there. So we're gonna go ahead and grab some sockets and get the rest of this off here. Let's crack that loose, see what we got. Why not find out today, right? We don't want to get it all put back together and realize that it's not going to work properly. Take all these out. Ah, we do have another spring right there. Oh yeah. All right. Put it down there. And here's our secondary spring here. We got another spring in here, so we're going to make sure that we put this all right back together as is, along with another O-ring here. This one is pretty, it's more of a flatter seal. And we pop this one off here. Yep, and we're gonna have to pop that off there. There we go. Oh yeah. Yeah, so we're getting into the guts of it now. That was in there just like that, and that was that. That one looks really nice. She's got a little bit of wear out there. Then it looks like she comes out from the bottom. The center does. All right, let's set these aside. Which will clean all these up really good before we put them back in. And we got to figure out now how this is all going to come off here. So that's going to come out just like that. And the skinny side went from the outside of the unit up to the center. You see that, the center piece right there. That's kind of how that went. Now, looking inside of here, yeah, that unit there is definitely appears to be pressed in. So we'll clean the other side of it out. clean that out too. We're going to get it as clean as we can in there. So there's no hold-ups or nothing when it slides in and out of there. Yeah, she's cleaned up really good in there, so. All right, so there's that right there. We'll clean off the surface here where these rubber grommets and seals go. Clean that off really good. And we're gonna have to get some sort of a grease out here. We'll get some grease out and put a little bit of grease in some of these parts to help keep that so it slides a little bit easier. Let's go ahead and clean this up here. Alright. Clean that up really good. And if we can do this just right, which I doubt is going to happen. See if we can take a little bit of this. Roll that up. Shove that in there a little bit. Spin that around in there. And give that a little buffing inside of there. Alright. There's that. That piece is clean. So we're going to get some grease for that. After we clean all these up. So a couple of parts are clean so far. This piece here, and that will go right in the center. Got that one. This is one of the other ones that we got just cleaned up. This will go in here next. Got the rubber, which we're gonna clean that rubber up. Clean up probably nice actually. Doesn't really look wore. I mean, there's a little bit of an indentation there, but good. Still feels real pliable, real soft. In there. All right, let's see what else we got here. And there's really not a lot of grease in here to start with. It just kind of feels like a little bit of lubricant grease, like maybe a little bit of white lithium or something. It's very, very thin. Yeah, there you go in there. And then of course you have the spring. Little tiny spring. And then we have another one of the O-ring gaskets. Okay, take a close look at this gasket. You can see that it has the top edge of this gasket is kind of like squared off. And then when I flip it over, it has like a rib in it. I don't know if you guys can see that in the camera at all. Kind of like a rib in it. It's kind of squared off shaped. It's got a little bit of a bevel to it. Can you see the bevel? That one went down over the top. Okay. Then we have the other kind of the perimeter round one. This one I'm going to be very careful with because it's a very thin gasket. This is super small, super thin. And it's also a flat gasket too. I don't know if you can tell that in the video here, but it's very flat. It appears to be molded that way. It doesn't seem to be like it was a round one at one time. It appears to be a flatter O-ring. That one's going to go around the perimeter right here to seal that cap off. So we got that one. Then I'm going to go ahead and clean the bottom of the shaft up real quick so we can put the lower part back together. Like new. There you have it. We have to clean the big spring up. Gotta have this one clean. All right, get this big spring all cleaned up now. Good to go. All right, gonna lay that out here. And then of course I gotta get to this nasty looking bracket here sometime today or tomorrow, so we'll see. Get that one done. Put that aside. So, all right, so I'm gonna take just a second here and grab a quick coffee and get some grease out, and we'll come back and start to put this thing back together. Hey guys, welcome back. We are going to go ahead and continue working on that brake booster for that 1958 Plymouth that you see us earlier tear apart. So we're going to go ahead right now and we're going to take the boot and we're going to get that boot all cleaned up and try to get that as clean as we possibly can. We have just about the rest of it all reconditioned already. We picked up some new grease to be doing some grease lubricant inside the booster as we put it back together. Picked up a couple different O-rings, was able to pick up some O-rings for it. So we're going to go ahead and get that thing put back together. But first, we got to get that rubber boot cleaned up and make it look like new again. So here we go. All right, guys, here we are, back again, ready to do the booster. This is the booster that we left you with right here. You can see the dirt on it yet, and looks pretty nasty. Of course, there's no dry rot on the booster, though. That's why we felt the need not to swap the rubber boot out and get a new rubber boot. You can see it's very pliable inside, and it still feels like brand new inside. So, very, very nice. So we're going to go ahead and get the outside cleaned up. We're not going to go and replace the boot. We're going to get it cleaned up. So let's do that. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get a little bit of water. Okay, the first thing we're going to hit it with is just some regular water. We're just going to brush it up a little bit. See what that kind of does first before we hit any kind of cleaners on it. And you can see from just the water, you can see kind of the job that the water did. Still looks a whole lot better than what it did. Well, and the area's all scrubbed pretty clean. Still feel a little bit of residue on there. We have to be really careful what we clean it with because I don't want to use anything that's bad for rubber. So, all right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to take and I think we're going to soften this up. And I'm going to try just on the bottom here. This is the topper here. I'm going to try on the bottom. A little bit of Armor All, regular Armor All. I don't really want it shiny, but I think that the rubber's so dry, I want it to suck up the lubricant to get it a little bit more wet. So, all right, we got a couple shot towels here. We're going to go ahead and try first. And we're going to try this on the bottom of it first. And this is just the original one. So this is the one after they took all the extreme high gloss out of Armor All. So you can still get it with the high gloss one, but this is the one that kind of doesn't really have all that crazy shine to it. So we're just going to add some to it here and see how well it will clean it as well and condition it. It's definitely sucking it up. Just everybody starts bashing the part about using Armor All and blah, 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 and Armor All sucks and blah, 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 blah. And, you know, 9 out of 10 of us trust it on our tires, so it does the job for old tires. I mean, I've used it on really old tires before, and it sucks up a lot, even like dashes and stuff like that. Sucks up a lot of material there because of the way it just conditions it. Really making a big difference. Like I said, I think I'm going to put another coat on after we're done with this first coat. It's kind of a big difference. You can see this side here. I don't know if you can tell that dirt. Then the side that we conditioned so far. And there's kind of both sides right there. I don't know if you guys can see that very well, but it's a big difference. Conditioned side, non-conditioned. So we're going to keep continuing to do that. We're going to hit the other side here with some Armor All too, and really let it soak in really good. Whole lot better. Wow, that's really doing the trick. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this sit for a few minutes because I still want to come back and hit it again. I still got some areas over here. I can definitely feel it working now, getting more conditioned. So I'm going to leave it sit for just a little bit. Come back and I'm going to hit this again with another coat and go from there. But yeah, as you can see right now, it's working like a dream. So we do got to get this top a lot cleaner though, and of course the bottom looks awesome. So if we can do that to the top, we'll be doing good. All right guys, we're back again. We're going to go ahead and give it a second coat here of the Armor All. Done with that first coat, we're going to go ahead and give it a second coat and see if it stays a little more conditioned this time. It's been soaking probably for maybe a half hour. We got some really fine steel wool here, and I can't remember if this is the 3-0 or 4-0. I'm going to put a little bit of water on it, and I'm going to try to scrub a little bit and see if we can get some of that ground in stuff off there. Man, that looks really good now. The bottom doesn't really need it because the bottom was nice to start with. I was facing down. All right, now we can get some Armor All on this thing for a final coat now. And then I think we'll be done with it because it's looking pretty good with that steel wool. Really cleaned that up pretty nice. Let's give it our final bath to soak in. There we have it. The after shot of the boot anyways. We're going to set her aside now till we're ready for assembly.
They're here and they're freaking cool.
Now is your chance to sport your very own Street Freaks garage gear.
With hoodies, t-shirts, red cap shop shirts, and the very cool old school red cap club jacket.
Hoodies and tees available in both black and lime green.
Beanies and caps are coming in soon, and don't forget, you get a free decal with each and every Street Freaks item ordered.
Isn't it time to get your freak on? Order yours now.
All right, guys, we're back, and it's time to start putting this brake booster back together. We went ahead and got absolutely everything cleaned up, reconditioned, looks really, really good. We're gonna go ahead and start reassembly on this thing. And the first thing gonna go in right here is this doodad right here. So we're gonna go ahead and use a little bit of this silicone spray from CRC. We're gonna use just a little bit of that and just put just a little dab of that. It's nice and clean too. Okay, we're gonna lay that right down here in the center. You can see the center we have to work with here. Here's the sleeve that we put in before. Push that right down. This will sit right centered over top of that. All right, then we have this ring here gonna go in here next. Just like that. Okay, and I'm going to take a little bit of this. This is a brake lubricant. It's a silicone lubricant, so I'm going to use a little bit of it. It's not like the clear stuff that was on the parts when we took it out, but we don't have that, so we're going to just put a little bit of this stuff on here. I think that's plenty. Also too, one quick note before I put this on there. You can see that this gasket has a bevel on it. Put my hand behind here, you can kind of see the bevel on there. And there's a little rib right here along the top. The rib goes up towards us. Just like that. Slide that on there. The next one we got is this O-ring here that goes around the outside perimeter that seals the, right here, seals this on there. So we're gonna put just a little bit of the silicone lubricant on that as well. Again, because it was there when we took it apart, it's gonna be there when we put it together. So rub this in like so. There we go. Feels pretty good. Okay, now we're going to kind of tuck it up along the edges. And make sure your seat's in there really good. Looks pretty good. Wipe the center off a little bit. Okay, that looks good. Okay, now we're going to be prepared for this. Go back in. And the flat part of that seal that we showed you earlier, you can see that's going to sit right inside of here. I'm going to use this to point here. It's going to sit right inside of here, that flat seal that we showed you a little bit ago. The O-ring seal will sit right on the edge right here. So I want to make sure this edge right here is super clean. There's no, I don't see any nicks or mars out of it. Looks good. Center looks good. Okay. We got our small spring, our secondary spring that we took out. It's right here. I'm going to seat that in there just right. Give it a little shove down. And start our bolts back in. Okay, so that half is back together. All right, I'm gonna put our big spring back in. And again, remember, there's really nothing holding this. It just kind of catches on the ridge on the side. Okay. Guess I should know our black shirt. I guess it's kind of contrasting not very well, but I'm gonna scooch this as close as I can to you guys. This doodad right here. Yeah, we got some assembly to do on this next. Okay, so our next group of parts we got coming. Scooch this aside. It's gonna be right here. We was able to pick up a new O-ring for the shaft here. I do have the old one here. Was able to pick one up from just a hardware store. So that is the one new O-ring we're gonna be putting new in it. It was convenient, easy to grab. So we figured, why not replace this O-ring? If I can get it out of there, it'll be good. There we go. It does kind of have a little bit of a lubricant on it already. We can give it just a dab of this stuff. Just to kind of give a little finger bath in it so it kind of slides over there a little bit easier. I'll put that right on there. That. And then we'll even give that just a little rub down with some of that stuff. There we go. Good to go. Okay. All right, guys, we're back again. We're going to go ahead and keep, we're going to start assembling the boot. And we took a good look at this boot. If you remember, we did do some re-lubricating on this boot. Some cleaning, and we was able to get some Armor All on it to recondition the rubber. And I got to tell you, it worked really, really good. Because this thing just looks like new. Feels like new. All right. Speaking of screwdrivers, I got to ask. I was always raised, we called these plain screwdrivers. I see a lot of people call them flat screwdrivers. What do you guys call them? I was always brought up that they were plain screwdrivers. But I hear a lot of people call them flat screwdrivers, so. Kind of curious. All right, excellent. That is back on. All right, guys, we got the boot on here now. We're going to go ahead and put a little bit of grease on this copper part here. Okay, we're using some regular grease on this. Rub just a little bit down the hole here too. And pull this out of here. This had plenty of grease inside this hole where this copper rode, so we're gonna be a little generous inside here. Just slap that down in there. Make sure that she moves freely. Oh yeah. Nice. Okay. The next one that we got here is this other O-ring here that's going to go on top. And this one's really just perfectly symmetrical. There's really no, well, I guess there's a little bit of a bevel on it, so we're going to put it in just like that with the bevel facing down as it was. So put just a little bit of grease on this. Make sure and soften it up a little bit. There you go. And bevel down. Like so. We're going to go ahead and put a little bit of grease on this center shaft here. So that boot can slide on there easily. Just like that. This should be all we need. Shouldn't take too much. Let me put a little bit inside this copper bearing here. Make sure it slides on there easily. Here. All right, let's give it a whirl. All right, there we have it. Here we go. Okay. All right, hold it down.
Yep.
Okay, push her right down. I'm gonna give her some tension. Where is it? Doesn't have any grease in her hands. Let me get those snugged up a little bit. Okay, what we're gonna do is we're gonna push this down, and I'm gonna have my helper here grab these clamps. So I'm gonna have you push this down while I clamp this. I actually want to put these on the sides so I can clamp the ends. Make sure the boot's good and clean. Center it over top. Slide over top of there. Like a glove. You can hold there. Side. Okay. That makes it a whole lot easier. These clampers are just level. There we go. All right, now we can get to work. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and put this rubber boot on here. And we're going to go ahead and give this rubber boot just a little bit of grease just on the inside. In here. And we're going to put this just like this. Over top of there's where she goes. You're pinched between all the nuts there. Now we got to go ahead and put our O-ring back on this little sleeve right here. Excellent. That's good. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and slide this in here. Just like that. Got a little bit of grease on there. Take it down in. There we go. Yeah, let's see if we can get an Allen wrench in there now. See if it will. It feels like it's seated great. We may have lucked out. Tighten that up. Tighten that up. Okay, we're going to release this very carefully now. All right, so I'm going to get my helper back over here. So I need you to push down there and there again for me. Just hold it there while I release these. Then I'm going to take it from you, so don't let go of it yet. Okay. I want to make sure that it seats nice on that rubber seal. Beautiful, just like that. Okay, excellent. All right, back to the other side. Now, we got to go ahead and get this seated inside this boot. All right. So now, we got to get this just around here. So we're going to take our, what I call a plain screwdriver, and start feeding this over top here. Get this nestled in there. There we go. There we have it. That looks like it's all in there good. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and get this front all put back together. There we go. I'm going to hold it just like that. Perfect. Okay. All right. I'm going to take this now. And this felt, I guess I'm going to call it a gasket or seal for air seal. This was all dirty and nasty and kind of grody. I just kind of took a brush with, like this one, not this one, but one like this had nylon bristles. Just kind of gently brush all the crud off it, and it really came back out just like brand new again. So I'm pretty happy about that one. So we're going to put that right back where it goes here. Send it in there. So I'm going to have you stand up a little straighter, just so, because this is kind of tipping. So you're going to have to try to follow along best you can there on the video. And I'm going to go ahead and put this seal right here in. This seal is going to go around the outside edge. I'm going to put a little bit of the lubricant on this. Wipe off the excess. I'm going to put that right around the outside edge. Just like that. Okay, beautiful. Now, we get that spring back in there. I'm going to get the front cover back on. Okay, so just like this is how it should go. Right after I put the spring in, of course.
The top's
All right, tip that. Yep, tip that down. Stay there. Make sure that lines up at the center. That's good. Hold her still. And we got these really nice shiny bolts to go in here. I've got grease all over my hands. Doesn't make it easier that way. It's important that we take this time to look around the table and make sure we didn't forget any parts. Because if we did, the car's not stopping. Okay, hold that right there for me. Give her a flat screwdriver. One last screw in. Which I'm not sure what this screw even held. Absolutely nothing as far as I'm concerned. Okay, let's cap this up. Alright, we should have it. Thank you very much. Alright guys, so this is that dirty, nasty, cruddy bracket that you seen earlier in the beginning of the video that had the goop all over it and the rust and all kinds of stuff. We media blasted this bracket, gave it a nice coat of epoxy, or self-etching primer rather, and then a nice coat of gloss black. So it looks really, really nice. So, we did some looking at how the bracket goes back on. It goes on back on just like this. So we're going to go ahead and get the nuts back on for that. Let's drop some washers on them. Well, good Lord, there we go. All right. Drop a washer on that one. Get these tightened up in just a second here. And I'm not sure if you guys have ever paid attention to this before. On these particular nuts here, you can see that there's a rounded edge on that one. If you look real close at that, you can see there's a rounded mark on the top of that and nothing on this side. The rounded edge goes down against the lock washer. Just kind of the way it's intended to go. All right, let's take this now and give it a quick little wipe off. Get some of the grease crud off it. And that's pretty good. There we have it, guys. She's 100% complete now. 58 Plymouth, Kelsey-Hayes, vacuum booster reconditioning. I think we did just fine. So we took it all apart, re-greased everything, re-lubed everything. She works good. A lot of vacuum coming out of there. Nice. I'd say our job was a success. There you have it. Thank you guys very much for tuning in this time. We appreciate it very, very much. If you like this episode, or if this episode helped you out at all, make sure to give it a like on the bottom of this video right here. And also don't forget to click the subscribe button over on the side. Now that this booster's done, we can toss it aside, pack it away, wait for it to be installed on the car, and we'll be good to go. So we will see you guys next time. Once again, click subscribe. Thank you guys very much for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Stay cool.